Call to order the Board of Supervisors meeting for February 19th at 7 p.m. Please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amy, if you would.
Supervisor John Stavenus.
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfle.
Here.
Supervisor Chuck Tice.
Here.
Supervisor Tony Haynes.
Here. All here, we have a quorum. All right, let's start with the meet and greet in reverse order, letting you go.
All right.
All right.
Amy Fluck, Clerk Treasurer, County Road P.
Tony Haynes, Town Supervisor, Matthew Road.
Chuck Tice, Supervisor, Bay Shore.
Dan Wolfle, Chairman, Park Road.
Linda Waite, Supervisor, Bluff Court.
John Stavenus, Supervisor, Whitefish Bay Road.
We'll let you go first.
What's that?
Just say your
Introduce
name.
yourself,
Oh,
name.
Mason Fuller.
Okay.
Andrew Pfeffer, Gordon Drive.
You want to start over there, ma'am?
Laurel Wise, Troy Lane.
Stephen Wise, Tony Lane.
Kelly Grusky, Troy Lane.
Rhonda Bessie, Troy Lane.
Austin Hildebrand, Fordham Road.
Bob Starr, Memorial Drive, Sturgeon Bay.
Steve Lobenstein, Town of Sevastopol.
Mary Ellen Hayden, Matthew Road.
All right, thank you. Next is public participation. This is for non-agenda items only. So if you, I'm sorry, Laddie, I didn't mean to short circuit you. We'll hold a portrait up of you next week.
Laddie Chapman, Glidden Drive.
Okay, next item is public participation. This is for non-agenda items only. If there's something on the agenda you wish to speak to, I will give you an opportunity to do so. So anybody have any comments they would like to make? All right, hearing none, we shall move on to adopting the agenda. Amy, has the agenda been properly noticed?
The agenda has been properly noticed.
We would need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll move that we adopt the agenda of February 19th, 2018.
I will second that.
Motion by Chuck, second by Tony to adopt the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Approval of the minutes from the Board of Supervisors meeting on January 15th, 2018. You all had a chance to take a look at those prior to Amy typing them up. Any changes, comments, questions, anything? If not, a motion to approve would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Chuck to approve the meeting minutes from the last Board of Supervisors, January 15th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, pending business. Let's start with the newsletter, which is Linda and Amy. So whomever would like, feel free to chime in.
Okay.
She's passing you the baton.
All right, so I did do just a rough mock-up of what the front of our newsletter might look like. It's been a while since we've done a town newsletter. And you notice that we used the date of June 2018, so anytime May, June, hoping to catch our summer people when their mailboxes are back up and active. I've mentioned the town hall mural out front and some comprehensive plan updates, so we could work together as to who would like to submit an article, volunteers to write an article for the next newsletter. Can get in touch with Amy, and I've suggested some topics there, but feel free to ad lib. And it would be 8 pages, so it would be an 8.5 by 17, folded in half, and then back to back, so that would be 8 pages, which we have done in the past.
Same format.
Same format as this.
11 by 17.
11 by 17, folded in half, right, to make the 8 pages, in color. I did get some quotes from 2 different vendors. And you have them there, very similar to the last time we did a newsletter. We have 2,100 improved parcels in the town. So not all of those use a Sturgeon Bay mailing address. I'm thinking if we printed 2,300, that's the column in the middle there. I got quotes on 2,200, 2,300, and 2,500. If we printed 2,300, that would give us the 2,100 to send out, and between Amy and I, maybe we could catch some of those out-of-town addresses as well. I know that you're maintaining an email list too of people that could receive their newsletter by email. So I've got costs for printing there, and I've got costs for mailing. If I could make a suggestion to use vendor B, who is a local printer, for 2,300. We've also mailed them to the different municipalities and just get them out and about in the neighborhood. Amy could have some on her desk. So my suggestion would be to use vendor B, like I said, a local printer, 2,300, $1,370, and then to use vendor A. I don't know if I should be saying the names or not.
Makes no difference.
To use their services to do the actual mailing. Tray it, add their permit number and all that.
Box holder permit.
Box holder
for bulk
permit.
mail.
They would take it to the postage, using their bulk mailing postage rate, which would be somewhere between 25 cents and 28.7 cents. So that's my suggestion.
The one thing that sticks in the back of my mind is I would call the post office and ask for the routes that encompass the town.
Right, and Carrie.
She's got all that?
Carrie, okay, the printer would be Door County Printing, Bob Goggins, who
Right.
lives in our town. And the one who would do the actual mailing would be the Sunshine House, using their bulk permit number.
So they told me at the number, but it's pretty close to where I think where you're at in terms of their distribution, because we end up wasting, town of Sturgeon Bay and Jacksonport people get some of our newsletters.
Right, because of,
But
it would
that's just the
be,
way it works.
right, routes 2 and 3, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, there's some overlap there, so some Town of Egg Harbor residents will get our newsletter, but it's neither here nor there. Do you think 2,300 is too many?
No, the problem is that, they don't give you back what they don't use. But
Right.
it seems to me that the number, I'd say 23 to 25, I think was their number. And knowingly, a lot of those get wasted, but you don't know, once they're in the rural
Right.
box holders, you can't tell whether they're, and they don't check. So I think you're pretty close on the number. We'll just
We have-
bulk up on the ones that are our area more so.
We had budgeted 2,500, so this comes in at 2,300 or so.
I think
So-
that's great. And if you could just tell me who's writing this, thank you, Mr. Tice. Could Chuck write that?
I thought we would do an exit interview
Oh.
with Supervisor Tice, and he
Nice.
can tell us about his experiences on the town board for the last, how many years?
12 years.
12 years,
Okay,
long time.
all right. Well, that sounds good by me. Is there any comments from the board on anyone wanting to tackle something or on Linda's proposal on what to do with the printing and et cetera?
Sounds good.
Okay, all right, so I'll be
Here we go.
contacting you all for a topic and a story.
The one thing I
And
did,
anyone else who would like to write a story, or if you have an interest that you would like to learn about in the newsletter, just let us know.
or place an ad as a realtor. One thing that I did jot down is we should probably have another thing asking for addresses. In the newsletter, asks anybody that reads it once again to supply us with an email address so that in the future we can maintain a list, try at least. Okay, thank you
Great,
much.
great.
Amy, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Not to be outdone, we have an interest rate comparison. That was a carryover from the last couple months, and basically the way the conversation went is our local bank is not overloading our checking account with interest earned, so we have pursued a couple other alternatives to see if they're viable. and Amy and Linda worked on that, but I have no idea who wants to,
Linda's going to take it.
Linda's going to take it, all right?
All right, if you looked at the financial report in your packet this month, I know that's as of the end of January, but look at the interest rates. Our local bank is at 0.65 and 0.60, whereas our local government investment pool is paying 1.35, and that's as the end of January, and I believe February is going to be even higher. So just roughly calculating, if we parked our accumulated reval funds of $94,800 and some of our accumulated room tax, which I know we are using for our principal loan payments and all that. But if we parked a nice round number of $300,000 with the local government investment pool, or I'll go back to, if we parked $300,000, so right now we have $300,000 at our local bank paying 0.65. That's roughly $163 a month.
Wow.
If we parked $300,000 with the local government investment pool at 1.35, that's $338 a month. That amounts to about $2,000 a year in additional interest. And the only downside I can see is if we needed those funds, it's going to cost us a $15 wire fee. And even to deposit the funds there, we just have to write a check. We don't have to be wiring. And if we use $300,000, that would still leave us a nice cushion
For any-
of $100,000 just in case, because sometimes, I believe in June or July, before we get our transportation aids, funds are a little low, so we could kind of depend on that. So, like I said, I don't see a downside to earning an additional $2,000 in interest.
No, I think it makes sense. Any comments from the board?
On the list here, it says the LGIP wire transfer fee, no incoming or outgoing.
Right, but
That's-
the local bank will charge $15 for incoming and $35 for
The local
going
bank
out.
is charging
Yeah.
that fee then, okay.
And like I said, it doesn't have to be a wire, it can be a check, unless we needed the funds, you know. And another good thing about if you let them know that you're depositing by 11 a.m. that day, they will give you that day's interest, even though it might not get there till 3 or 4 p.m.
Well, Amy, what time does, you leave in the morning at 7? Could you get there by 11 a.m. with the check?
Where am I going, Madison?
I don't,
We don't know where these
I don't
people
know where
are.
they are.
They're on the internet, they're in the cloud.
do we need formal action to just transfer those
Well,
funds?
we didn't with anything else. I just think that it was a good idea that you brought this to our attention, and I think we should move it. Unless someone on the board has an objection, that would be I would support that effort.
And they'll segregate it too. They will segregate, okay, this is for reval and this is for room tax, so.
Sounds good to me. Amy, why don't you work through with Linda on it and move the money?
Money's
good.
money. Money's money.
Money's money.
If the lights go dim at Nickel Lane, invite them in to talk to us.
Free money, yes.
All right. Now, switching gears over to new business, we have a couple items on the agenda this evening from our planning commission. Conditional use permit for Andrew Pfeiffer at 3835 Egg Harbor Road. This is a conditional use permit request to establish an automotive sales and service lot. And after that, we have another one from Laurel Weiss and Robert and Marcia Kurth and Jeff Peterson. So what we're going to do tonight is a little different than in the past. We already, or I shouldn't say we, John's group, the Planning Commission, heard the request from the Pfeiffers regarding their request for the establishment of an automotive sales lot. And due to timing, the committee was not able to hear the Laurel Weiss, Roberts, Kurth, and Peter Silka one. So that one will be done in total in front of the town board, and we will make a decision on that as a group tonight. I will turn the floor over to John so we can take us through both of these, and we'll go from there. So, John?
Okay, we'll start with the Andrew Pfeffer, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first, Mr. Pfeffer and Mr. Fuller met with us the other night to establish a automotive sales vehicles and motorcycles shop. They are going to use the existing buildings, and the big shop will be for detailing. There will be no mechanic, no repair services performed. There is, they have a 2-year lease from the owner. They wanted to have a longer lease. They're working with the fire chief and the town's building inspector to meet all the state and federal requirements. There's a drawing. Did you get this drawing in? Okay, there's a drawing with the yellow and the numbers for the proposed 25 spots parking. It's a big map, and they have listed in yellow where the cars are going to park, which would be around this side here, out here, and that would be somewhere between 5 and 25 vehicles. The other numbered vehicle spots are for the employees or working people there. The only person in opposition to that was the neighbor. She has a vacant lot, and on the side where it's numbered 1 through 9, the previous owner paved too far over, so she just wanted them to make aware of that she owned that lot. She said she didn't care if they parked on it or whatever, just as long as they knew she owned it. They're working out some kind of an agreement between the two of them. The town's not getting involved with that, so. Is there anything I missed?
Nope.
Nope.
It would just be a written agreement between her and I.
Right, correct. Okay, with the composition, comprehensive plan met, and it was a 6-0 unanimous decision to approve. So are there any questions from the board?
I'm familiar with the property. It has a entrance exits off of Old Highway Road, but that is on the other lot?
Yes.
So you are not allowed to use that?
No,
or
we are renting that lot.
You're coming off of Egg Harbor Road then?
Yes, sir.
One driveway?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
John, what were the conditions that you attached to this? I know you've discussed some, but you might want to share those.
Well, the concerns were for the lighting. Let's see, all the ones that were listed basically in the hours of, that they were going to be open. That was, what was it, 9 to?
9 to 5 or 10 to 6 on Saturdays, but no Sundays.
But no, yeah, no Sundays. So I guess the big one was the light, so that the light on the new, well, there's an existing sign there, and they did not want the sign shining in other people's property, which is a county ordinance anyhow, so.
Okay. So any other questions from the board with respect to this?
The Plan Commission, we pretty much agreed that we supported all of the conditions in the draft staff report from the Land Use Services, which did
Correct.
address lighting, number of vehicles allowed, operating hours, proper permits.
Okay. Any other comments? Otherwise, a motion's in order, and John, I'm assuming you're going to make that.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the RPC for approval from the town.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion from John, a second from Chuck to support the request for conditional use for the Pfeiffers on their automotive business. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Motion carried. All right, gentlemen, good luck. Don't forget that half-day, half-price car day that you had promised us.
I'm not sure when the RPC meets, but are you Amy?
Offhand, I'm not sure. No.
Okay. But I would think you would want to go to that one too. The RPC is the county level? Okay,
I think that's April 5th.
okay,
That's what the judge said.
No
Okay.
earlier than March 10th.
yeah. Okay. Sounds good, thank you.
I think, or somewhere
Yes.
there, no. All right. Okay, the second one on the agenda is the request from Laurel Weiss, Robert, Marcia Kurth, and Jeff Petersilka. John, you want to go through that?
Basically, they want to grant a variance to have, right now it's a small estates, which is ES, and they're supposed to have 5 acres in small estates. And there was a overlap of 19.79 feet when they drew up these 3 lots, and it must not have ever been realized until now. So what they want to do is they want to change some of the lot lines and make every one of them 4.90 acres, which is smaller than the small estates property line. So it involves the 3 petitioners in the front of this. So each one, are they here tonight? No. Oh, yes, one of them.
Wises and the neighbor. Stephen Laurel Wise
Who, I?
and the neighbors.
You're representing the Curse? Okay. So in order to make the property lines right and everybody's happy, each one of these 3 lots will be 4.90 acres on Trillium Lane. So, is there anything you would like to say?
Sure. Thank you. Well, this really got started as a result of Bob and Marcia Kurth asking me to come and help them sell their home. So, and he told me at the time that there had been a survey that had been done on one of the properties down the road at the intersection of Trillium and Reynolds Road. And that survey kind of disclosed something to the neighborhood that there was a potential problem in the survey that was done back by Tom Kopet in the mid-70s when this area was developed. And that there's a discrepancy between that survey and the legal descriptions for the lots. And of course, all the pins that were put in that area were all based on a survey that was done in the mid-70s. The legal descriptions didn't match the survey that was done. And that survey that was done down the corridor kind of revealed that back in about 2002, 2003. And so I know Bob and Marcia Kurth did some research. They actually hired an attorney at one point to try to research it for them to see, because they eventually knew they were going to want to sell the property and they wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to be an issue. So by the time they talked to me last fall, he had a file which had some legal opinions from the attorney that they had hired. And from that, it looked like there was a discrepancy of about 19 feet, but there was no clear way of how to fix it. So we, as a part of listing their property, putting it up for sale, we thought, well, we know there's a discrepancy. We're not sure exactly how it goes, but maybe if we just disclose it to any buyer that is interested in the property, they may purchase the property with that the way it is. So we put the property on the market, got an accepted offer to purchase, went through all the things that you go through, the septic system, well tests, home inspection, all those things. And it came to the point where I had to order legal work for the property sale. And that's in the form of a title commitment. Let's see. It looks like this, and it's a history of the property. And when I got this title commitment, I read through them to see what's on there, what's going to have to be resolved, any mortgages on the property that have to be paid off, easements it points out, those kinds of things. And in this document was multiple references to an overlap on the property. And in fact, this is for the Bob Kurth property, it even pulled in the mortgages of the next door neighbors, the Wises. as attached to this property. So that prevents us from providing free and clear title to be able to sell the property. There's no way you can sell the property with a record of property title like this. So I knew we had a problem. And so we went to Jeff Cuso, we went to a surveyor, we hired the surveyor, and we said, you gotta do the research on this and figure out what is the best way to resolve this. We have reason to believe there may be other issues in the neighborhood, but I'm not really sure. We didn't explore those. We hired the surveyor to help us sell the current property, and we realized that the Wise's property, they're here tonight, was going to be involved. And as the surveyor completed his work, he's the one that really discovered that the survey that was done in the mid-'70s doesn't match the legal descriptions. And it's kind of a problem where the one was coming from one end and the other problem, another surveyor was coming from a different end. And so we realized that the lot lines, where the pins are for both the Wise property, what would be the eastern line of the Wise property, which is also the Kurth's west line, and the pins that are on the Peter Silka and the Kurth property on the other side are about 19 feet off from where they're supposed to be. So we talked to these folks to see if they would like to help in the solution for this. And the surveyor worked with Jeff Cuso to come up with the solution that you have before you in a variance request. This will satisfy the title issues relating to the Wise's property, the Kurth property, and the Peter Silka property. It does move those lot lines, and I think you have a site map that shows those. With your permission, I would pass out an overhead that kind of gives you a pretty easy way to see these. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Do you have an idea, Bob, how many surveyors surveyed these 3-4 lots in question? Are they all different surveys? Not now, but I mean back in the 70s? So I mean, do we have?
Well, Tom Kopet did his in the mid-'70s. I don't know that there was much done after that. Most of the time, surveys don't get done unless somebody's going to sell the property.
Well, wasn't it the CSM, that whole Holiday Acres? Was that a CSM?
This is not Holiday Acres.
This is
It's
not
next door.
Holiday.
It's next door.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
This is no Holiday Acres.
I learned that myself.
Okay.
Bob, in this area here, though, there's no such thing to have 5 acres, correct?
No, they do.
I mean,
Yes.
they do.
Yeah.
They do. This is small
That's what I
state.
thought I heard him say. So I see.
Yes,
So these 3 lots then would be 4.9.
that's correct, with the granting of the variance.
Right.
Now, like I said, there may be similar issues with other lots. What I would like to think is that this may provide the roadmap for those lots to, when they decide to work with their own particular issue, if indeed there are issues in the other lots, this may help and provide a roadmap for how to create a solution. We can't figure out a better way to fix this. And we try to work with Jeff Cuso as much as possible, and I shouldn't speak for him, but he helped us arrive at this conclusion.
So what's the double line represent?
That is
the 19 feet.
19 feet over that.
So that carries through to the neighbors behind too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If
It
you
certainly
look
looks
here,
that way.
there's
Like I
an
said,
overlap.
we didn't hire the surveyor to do any other work.
Yeah,
except
right.
these 3 sections.
And then even if you look at the very top of the map, it looks like there's another one shooting out
Yep.
above there too. So that
So-
whole thing could be messed up.
I wouldn't be surprised if this happens to you folks again, to review a similar request in the future.
Does the 19-foot adjustment, okay, so that's going to give the Kurtz the 5-foot setback, it looks like. Yes, or no?
On the side?
Mhm.
Yes,
Side
the
does.
reason we adjusted that lot where it is to make sure that it doesn't encroach on his driveway.
Right.
We do have to move the propane tank over,
Mhm.
but we'll be doing that in the spring.
But as far as Stephen Laurel and Jeff Peterson, I know there are improvements on both of those lots. The moving doesn't affect their setback
That's
of their
correct.
current
Yeah.
improvements.
Yes,
Right,
I'm glad to say,
yeah.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I did confirm with Jeff also in Land Services that even though it's 4.9 acres, it's still going to retain the estate zoning designation.
Right.
So,
So they won't be able to subdivide it.
No.
Correct.
And
And Bob and
what-
Marcia Kurth now live up in the UP, which is why they were unable to be here tonight. They had every intention of being here tonight, but it's a little hard. And then Jeff Peterson, he works in Green Bay, I believe, so he probably had a slow drive home tonight. So I wasn't sure whether he was going to be able to make it. But all three property owners have signed the application for the variance, so they're all supporting
Okay.
it.
Sounds good. Do the Weisses have anything to say?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
And there's no impact on the west, let me think here. Yeah, on the west lot line for the Weiss property. It's only to the east.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you have to move? Well, you're not allowed to move pins, I don't think. The pins are just going to stay there, and you're just going to go by the legal descriptions.
New pins will be set.
I think the pins get set.
Yes.
They will be reset?
They get
They should.
You'll
set.
reset, but you can't pull out an existing pin. You can put in a new one.
Yep.
It's a good way to confuse the next guy.
Why are you involving the third lot when the problem is with lots 2 and 3, and you're involving lot 1? Which would be the Peter Silka.
The Peter Silka lot? Well, a lot of that, part of that is because where the lot really is encroaches onto the curved driveway.
The driveway looks like it swings right
Yeah.
over into their land.
If you look at that site plan,
Yeah.
the dotted line goes into their driveway and into that blacktop area. All I believe is 5 feet.
There almost
So-
looks like there's a building at the corner of that. Is there built, on this map, there looks like there might be a,
The propane tank, I think.
oh, is that what I'm seeing there?
There's a propane tank by his garage.
Well, yeah, I see that on here, but I
Okay.
just looked like there was a building right at the end of that garage there or something, but, okay,
This must have been taken by a drone like
Yeah.
10 miles
I
out.
don't believe there is.
okay.
But that's the biggest reason. We didn't want to create encroachments or have them need to do easements. Peter Silka was in agreement. To him, it really didn't matter. We thought the best scenario was to create equal acreage for all 3 lots.
Okay, I can see that's gonna be a never-ending thing out there.
I just wonder if this might not be the kind of thing where zoning, where we get together with them and see if we shouldn't approach these people and try and have everything done once and correct it. 'Cause this could, I mean, from the looks of this, is gonna happen every time somebody goes to sell their property, because there's gonna be a lot line
And
that's in
it looks
question.
like behind them and then up at the top
Right.
of the page too, there's a double lot line.
Are the other owners aware, and I'm recalling a previous situation from a few years ago, where there was an encroachment of a garage, and the next door neighbor said, okay, I'm gonna be a really nice guy and sell you 10 feet, and then he had a problem getting a release from his bank, so just so you're aware of that,
I'm aware of that.
if you're forfeiting even 19 feet, make sure your lender knows about it.
Correct. They have to sign off.
Okay.
Have you approached the Harveys or the Burskys at all?
No. You know, I'm
Excuse
in
me.
a contractual relationship with Bob and Marcia Kurth,
Okay.
so that's the only folks I can really represent.
Well, the Bruskis are here, do they want to come?
Oh,
Right? You are the Bruskis?
Everybody in Trillium Lane's aware of the problem. We have been for a while. So it has to get resolved to make the properties move, so that's where we're at.
well, if the Bruskis, how big is your lot right now?
I think it's described on the legal document as 5.01.
5.01, and it looks like you have the overlap between you and the Harveys too,
Right.
the exact same thing.
And it just so happens that I think Bob Kurth is the first one to want to sell, most recently. So,
Right. I certainly don't have any issue with it, but I think just as our footnote of our own, we should touch base with Jeff and just see if, and how they might propose to tackle these in the future, because obviously there's going to be more.
Well, yes, but I think,
Well, we're just
Whenever-
dealing with one
Yeah.
right now.
yeah, you have to deal with the one right now. And
Yeah,
then-
no, I'm fine
and
with
other
that.
people will have to go for a variance.
The
Sorry
exact
to say,
same
but-
situation on the street I live on, two guys decades ago started, one from Glidden and one from Whitefish, and they came and
Yep.
there was a missing 20 feet.
Yep.
And the guy in the center thought he had a buildable lot, and he was 20 feet short. And in that situation, fortunately, the person sold to the two adjoining ones, and that solved the problem, but it can be a mess. So,
Okay, so I would make a motion to recommend to the RPC for approval,
Board of Adjustment.
or
and the Board of Adjustments for approval.
I'll second it.
All right, motion by John, second by Chuck, to recommend the Board of Adjustment approval of this variance change. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. We will send a letter in your behalf.
Do we need to address our three
On the worksheet.
reasons for the town's decision, consistent with comprehensive plan and concerns or objections?
How about it makes
None, none,
sense? Corrects a mistake made by a surveyor back in the 70s when we were in the non-digital age. It's a logical resolution to a significant problem,
And it's fair across the board between the three lots.
and the people are all supportive. You have nobody,
have no-
there's nobody that objected to this that you're aware of, Bob, or that you'll share with us, right?
So, yeah, there'd be no concerns.
I mean, by now they would have told us, because we send out a letter on our own just to make sure we don't miss something with someone. So, okay, good enough, thank you.
I don't know how we would put down if it's proposed consistent with our comprehensive plan, but
Well, the zoning's not changing, so it really isn't affecting.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
Because it's going to
There is no
remain.
zoning change.
there's no zoning change, but there's still gonna be small estates, okay. And then concerns or objectives, there would be none. Nobody has any concerns or objectives from anybody? Okay,
All right?
thank you, Linda.
Okay, good enough. Next up is the Doorstop LLC liquor license. This is a change in ownership from the prior owners on Gordon Road. And Amy, you want to share with us what you did there?
Well, they currently have a provisional Class A license because we needed ample time in order to get it published and everything. So that's what they currently have, and they are asking for a Class A license, just like the previous owner had.
Okay.
Cherrytown Convenience Store, it's now called Doorstop LLC.
Right, the old, next to Culver's
Okay,
on that corner.
that's what I thought.
Formerly Cherrytown.
Yeah, and apparently the prior owner neglected to share with the new owner that there was a lead time for acquiring a liquor license. So Amy did some homework and found out that we could issue a provisional license for the interim until such time as the board met, and so that is what she's done. Are there any open issues at all on this, Amy? Or otherwise, are we ready to?
No open issues. They did get their seller's permit number, so we have that. And we are giving them a prorated fee from now until the end of June, because our next cycle starts July 1st.
You said this place is next to Culver.
It's the Cherrytown, Matt Olson.
The gas
The
station.
gas station. We're connected to Culver.
Across from
Okay.
Yeah,
Zon's.
it's just changed
Okay.
owners.
So I was just trying to figure out where the heck this was. Thinking,
Okay, are you looking for a motion?
I am looking for a
All
motion.
right, I will make a motion to approve the original alcohol beverage license to Doorstop LLC for the period February 20th through June 30th, 2018, conditioned upon the concurrent surrender of the current license, correct? They would need to surrender that. And background check and all the inspections and compliant with the agent requirements. Anything else, Amy, that we need to cover?
No.
Seller's permit, federal ID
Fees.
number, Payment of the fees
We should have those already.
has been published, correct?
It has been published.
You see some discrepancy in the scheduled appointment for agent. You may wish to refile that form. Where under the undersigned duly authorized officers, members, managers of, he put his name there rather than the corporation or the LLC.
Yeah. Linda?
He's a member.
Of doorstop.
Austin Hildebrand as a member of Doorstop LLC.
Mine says Austin.
Austin Hildebrand as member of LLC.
Flip your page. Here, instead of writing your business, he wrote in his name.
Okay, the undersigned member, okay. No one as Doorstop, no.
More or less just a typographical error, but
Yeah.
it probably should be corrected. I will second Linda's motion with the addition that he
Revise the document.
revise that document.
All right. Okay, we have a motion from Linda, second from Chuck to approve the request for a liquor license from Doorstop LLC. All those in
Okay.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. All right. One more to go, big night for liquor.
We ain't proving this one.
Grandma Tommy's. I don't know why a little old lady would want to drink. State Highway 57, alcohol beverage license switching from one category to the next. Amy?
I was approached by Steve Lobenstein, who wants to relinquish his Class A license as of July 1st, 2018, to go to a Class B license. He wants to be able to sell the products that you have there with tastings and people, because people do sometimes drink out front on your patio, things like that. So he wanted to upgrade.
Any comments, Steve?
Yes, as Amy said, we'd like to relinquish our Class A to Class B. We just run into some issues. We do sell mix and match beers and also single beers out of our cooler, and they're most microbrews. And a lot of times, people are taking one and they're snapping it, and they're going out on the patio and they're relaxing, and whether family shops or they're shopping, or they stop by and go through the store and they grab a beer and they sit out on the patio. So we just want to make it legal. They do that instead of going up to them and saying, hey, I can't have that beer. So it offends a lot of people. And I just want to make it a good environment there. It's a large porch. There's a lot of area. And it needs to be addressed and addressed properly. And I feel that I'm doing that by changing this.
Any questions from anyone else, Linda?
Steve, if it was bad weather, would you want to designate a place inside your building? And if you do, you need to, in number 9 there, be very detailed in listing every place that you might serve alcohol beverages. So I'm just thinking, if it was bad weather and you had room inside your building, would you maybe have some tables and chairs in there? And if you do that, you should, list
Yes,
that as
we
a
would.
place. So,
Sometime in the future, we would sure like to maybe do that, but at this time, we're just thinking the porch.
But what I think Linda's saying is that if you list it here, then you can do it in the future. If you don't list it, you gotta wait for another year.
Oh, sure.
Right?
I'm just saying, if it was raining out or something like that and somebody's walking around inside your premises with a drink in their hand, we really should include that on.
Can we indicate in the building also? Do you need to know exact location?
As long as it's not a separate room.
Right.
I mean, like in your store,
Yes.
if you would allow them to take their beer out of the cooler, open it, and walk through the store.
Okay.
Or if, like Linda's saying, it's bad weather outside and they want to pull up a chair in the corner somewhere, you just list the store itself. I mean, you wouldn't be serving and allowing the drinking to take place in the storeroom.
Yeah, we might run into another problem if that's the case, so we better list the store also.
And you could just
But
say.
I don't see it happening in the store, that's the thing, you know, I see it happening on the porch. But I believe I think what Linda said, if we don't list the store, I'm gonna be back here, inside the store, I'm gonna be back here in the near future, because I'm gonna run into that problem.
What you could say is just, you know, in that number 9, you could amend it, I'm sure Amy would let you amend it. You know, premises located at 4020 State Highway 42/57, including porch or covered porch or whatever.
Okay.
Premises and building located at, I think that would probably cover everything.
Could he just put the address there?
Premises located at,
But that-
premises and building located at 4020.
Wouldn't that cover his whole building then, with the porch,
Well, that's-
parking lot, or not?
Well, the
They want-
Department of Revenue is
They
being
want you to be very
very
specific on where
Right.
it's going to be stored and served.
Right, like if you don't say, oh, my beer garden, well, you didn't list it, so
Okay.
no drinking in the beer garden. Better to be safe than sorry, I guess. Just a suggestion.
Okay, so he can revise that with you.
Are you
Yeah.
aware of the hours that the place has to be open on an annual basis and so forth?
No, I'm not, Chuck. We're open 9 to 5, 7 days a week.
When we got
I believe it's
6 months or
1,020 hours or something like that.
I think
I
with
think
the
they
summertime
satisfy.
hours, he would get plenty.
Yeah. his-
We're open 9 to
Yeah.
5 from May
Yeah.
through end of December, so I'm sure.
You'll be
if the-
fine.
That got changed just
But
because
no,
we
I
had,
wasn't aware of that. I
we had
wasn't
some
aware of that.
liquor licenses that were just sitting there, and they weren't even open for years. They were just rebuying it, so we put a stipulation in there that you needed to be open so much and actually serve something with a liquor license, so.
Sure.
But I think if you're open that much, you'll be plenty.
Yeah.
And just make sure this comes off our list of available Class B license.
Take it off.
There you go.
You made the motion, Linda?
I don't,
Nobody
second
made
I don't
Nobody
believe
made-
there
I'll
was a
make a-
motion.
There wasn't a
John's
motion.
making
I'll make a motion to approve the Grandma Tommy's liquor license, Class B.
And the second would be?
Second.
Second, okay. Motion by John, second by Chuck to approve the request for liquor license from Grandma Tommy's on
Thank you.
Highway 57. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carried. Congratulations. Don't forget to leave your money at the door. All right,
And it'll be coming up again on June 30th.
yeah. See you in a month and a
Make
half.
sure you have all your stuff.
Okay, next item here is, as you know, we typically do not have a meeting in the month of March, and so we do need authorization for payment of the bills. So we need to deal with that for payment of bills March 2018, vouchers, bills, and claims, and move board meeting until our April annual meeting, April 17th.
17th.
April 17th, right? And of course, there could always be a meeting called at the request of the chair as needed. But in lieu of that, have a motion to do that, please?
All right, I move to approve payment of any bills incurred between now and April 17th that are time sensitive and need payment prior to April 17th, I guess.
Sounds good.
Second. Tony's got it.
All right, Linda's right in there.
What you do is spike his
Doesn't belong
oxygen.
here.
Oh, you must have just turned up the oxygen, that's all. All right. Motion by Linda, second by Tony, to approve the payment authorization of bills outstanding from March through April. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. All right. Next are the financial reports, which you have, and at one point in time during the month, we were extremely wealthy with $7 million in the bank, which I wish I could say is still there. We signed off quite a bit of money. But you also have the budget versus actual for the month and the transaction list by date. All of that. And we have a treasurer that might want to tell us about some significant things that may have happened in the last month.
Sure. We mailed the checks for our February settlement, so that is where a large chunk of our money went. Our principal payment is due as of March 1st, so we will be making the wire of $100,000. And we received the payment in lieu of taxes from the DNR, and it was well above what we had budgeted, so that is very good.
Okay, that's good to know. So, I think a motion to approve the financial reports. And let's, go
Did
ahead.
we approve financial reports? January 2018.
I'll second that one too.
All right, we got Tony on the second business. A motion by Chuck, second by Tony to approve the financial reports for January 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None,
Can
carried.
we back up one, Dan, to
Sure.
number 10?
Number 10, ordinances and resolutions.
We
I didn't have any.
We don't have one, but we
Oh.
have the noxious weed ordinance. And by statute, we have to post notice every year that that ordinance is in effect. So that is coming up here, I believe it's in March.
How do we have to post it? Just like
In
our
a-
town
Like
meeting?
like in a newspaper,
Okay,
just a notice that the town is under that ordinance and
which is good because in the correspondence, if you read the Soil and Water has got some funding and one of their requirements is an ordinance.
I haven't had a meeting with her yet.
Okay. So Amy, will you take care of that? And
I'll have to look up the
Do a little
statute
research
number
and, yeah.
and find the exact date that it has to be
Absolutely.
posted
and
by.
then put a notice in your calendar for next year, so we remember
Continue.
to do that. Thanks,
Yes,
Chuck.
Absolutely.
Okay. Who has the vouchers, claims, and bills? Oh, right here. Oh, I don't know where that got stopped. I apologize.
I'm sorry, I should have passed it down to
I did not even see
Mr.
it.
Tice.
Has it just been? Okay. Well, we'll sign off on it before we approve it. That would be pretty good. We need Tony and Chuck. Sorry, this got waylaid. Tell you what, while they're taking care of that, Linda, how about you're doing your board report? Would that work? Out of schedule here, out of sequence?
Sure, that'll be fine.
Then
Are we
they
gonna
can
have
take
it?
a look if they want.
Okay. County Board, Door County Board of Supervisors meets Tuesday, February 27th at 10 a.m., so they moved it back a little bit. You may have heard on the radio and in the newspaper, congratulations to Aaron LeClaire. He is our newly appointed Director of Emergency Services. He's been with the county for over 10 years, and he's a real asset, and I'm happy that they chose from within. At our Door County unit meeting the other night, John Kalochi filled in for Joel Kitchens, and that portion of Glidden Drive is going to be the #1 priority project when they start the highway work for the season. So that was roughly, it's expensive. It's almost 5 miles.
4.5,
Yeah.
something like that.
So that's gonna be pulverized and repaved and all that. That's the, like I said, first project on their list, over $1 million, so. And they wanted to get that in before the tourist season starts and homeowners start coming back. Let's see, what else do I have here?
Do you know anything about the reconstruction of Duluth?
He did not mention that.
Not in our
I noticed
area.
in the
No.
paper that they talked
Right.
about complete reconstruction.
And I don't
We don't
see
care.
that on, I don't see that on his list either. He's got
Okay.
some Forestville, some Egg Harbor. And let's see, just, this is not really county board, but also at the unit meeting. The next meeting is May 17th in the Town of Union. And then if you would mark your calendars for August 25th, Mr. Tice was at this meeting. August 25th would be the unit meeting on Washington Island. We did that a few years ago. It was a lot of fun to go up to the island. Door County Unit of Wisconsin Towns Association, it's the 17 towns in Door County.
Did you stay overnight?
No, we didn't stay over. And we paid our own way too, so. Other than that, there's some more reorganization going on at the county level, I learned this morning, so,
Who's gone
there
now?
might be, nobody's going, we might be adding, so.
We don't even know what happened to the park guy. He just disappeared off
That
into the
was,
sunset.
that's city business, so I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that.
No,
Oh,
no,
you're
no.
talking about Eric Ailes?
Well, yeah, now both park
Yeah.
guys are gone.
Yeah, something's wrong with the parks, I don't know,
Apparently.
but,
I'm glad our park superintendent's okay.
yeah.
One of the
Eric,
school hours.
Eric Ailes, and I thought he was doing a great job, but anyway,
He
so,
might be gone if you
anyway.
did his
All right.
oxygen off too.
Thank you, Linda.
So,
have a little bit-
and
oh,
we're
sorry.
still waiting to hear on our LRIP apps too, that funding from the state. So, oh, and back to highway work. Mr. Kaloji said that, get your work in as early as possible, so the sooner you get it in. So just thinking, maybe we want to move that road tour up a little bit.
They have
and-
an extremely busy year
Yes.
this year.
We
and-
haven't picked a date for that.
Right, and then also just a reminder, when we do that road tour, we ran into it, we have to have that, if we're gonna apply for LRIP funds, it has to be on our radar for at least 2 years. So I'm thinking when we go through Whistler or that rating sheet, just list everyone who's, you know, in the 4, 5, or 6 category, so that our bases are covered, that, you know, it's on our radar for 2 years.
I mean, and just as a footnote to that, we'll pick a date in April. Obviously, if you've come across a road that needs some work, make sure you jot it down somewhere, because we'll have a lot of ground to cover in a short period of time, so. Okay.
Right now, they all need work
One
because
other,
they're all.
one other thing that came up at the WTA meeting was seal coating Highway 42
42.
from the mill intersection all the way to the top of the hill at Egg Harbor.
Big Harbor.
Ooh.
Seal coat. Chip and
Chip and
seal.
seal?
Chip and seal.
and seal.
Is that a double
And
chip and
then,
seal?
have you heard any more, Linda, on the fact that Aaron is the, in charge of the or the emergency services now?
Yes.
He was hired as the.
Right, I said that. Congrats
then
to Aaron Leclerc.
The fact, though, that the emergency services is going to take over the E911 phone system,
Yes, that's,
and
yes. And we're
the
adding
sheriff's
another,
department is out.
Well,
Yeah.
it used to be that way.
there's reorganization there.
When Dan Williams had it, he had the 911 too.
Where one of
so-
the
Like I
missing
said-
park directors is going to work at the 911 center.
Like I said, there's some more reorganization coming down the line, so.
All right. I'll take a second trip through. Are you completed? Well, thank you. Thank you again. All right, let's back up. Vouchers, bills, and claims, motion to approve January through February, please.
I'll move that we approve the vouchers, bills, and claims for January 16, 2018 through February 19 of 2018.
I'll second that.
All right, a change. Motion by Chuck, second by John to approve the vouchers, claims, and bills, January 16th through February 19th, 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carried. Thank you. Oral committee or commission reports, et cetera, et cetera. Anyone have anything in particular?
Well, the only thing to, sorry,
I think Tony does.
the only thing we're gonna be interviewing a couple of candidates for the town park job on Wednesday. And it's still open. There's been some interest. There's a couple of seniors at Sevastopol that Dale Carlson's talking to. And Dan and I will be doing those on Wednesday. And then also the dam is right where it's supposed to be.
Hasn't moved?
Hasn't moved. Water level is good.
It's good to know.
It's raining tonight.
She's right there.
All right.
We're doing good in the dam.
And,
I was just,
yes, Linda.
just back to our Plan Commission meeting, and Mr. Chairman, you were there. You asked me to follow up with Brandon Robinson.
Yep.
Robinson at Bay Lakes Regional Planning Commission, and his response was, "Thank you for the invite. We would definitely enjoy explaining to the town and its residents who Bay Lake is, along with benefits of being a member community." So he's put the date on his calendar, and we can discuss logistics as we get closer.
Great.
So,
Sounds good. Thank you.
That was for the annual meeting.
Annual
the annual
meeting,
meeting
right.
on April 17th, correct.
Which is followed by the town meeting. Which follows with the town meeting, sorry to say. Okay, so anyone else on oral committee, anything along those lines? Nothing? All right. We have license and permits and new construction. We do have a couple homes. And we see that the Gundrams got their permit to build their winery. So we'll go over there and have a cocktail soon, or a glass of wine. Glidden Drive's pretty busy with some new homes. So you have that in your packet. And as we wind down towards the end here, you have correspondence, some of which we've already covered. Payment in lieu of taxes from the Department of Natural Resources. Of course, that $12,000 gets shared with all the other taxing authorities. So we have received that. We also are happy to report that we have 3 successful 100% clean water reports from the state. So far, making that decision is looking better each time we test the water.
How many times do we have to test in a year now?
Three or quarterly, yeah, 4 times a year.
Yeah. Except this was a follow-up, so we had to do like 3 right in a row.
Right, we have to make sure when the well came in, everything was good, so we had to do so many
The
then.
new well.
But now we're back on quarterly.
Okay, because I thought once you had a bad test, there was so many extra that you had to do.
Oh, we
so-
do,
Okay.
yeah.
No.
Institute Motors, as you know, they were granted an extension on dealing with the property issues over there. You have a copy of the November tax receipts, which were 2843, and a list of rental properties at that time. This one I love. Somebody donated 1.3 acres worth 10 grand to the Nature Conservancy, and they never tell us who it was or where it is, so good to know. And the fire report is in there from Tim Montalvo again. This one Montevideo.
Okay.
I worked with a gal by the name of Montalvo. I have a tough time getting that out. I was surprised by the sheriff incident report that Sevastopol was like number 2. I mean, literally led the charge for a number of incidents. That was surprising.
We always are right up there.
Can
Yeah.
I add some comments to that?
To this? Sure, feel
Because,
free.
all right, so just remember, okay, so town of Sevastopol, the number of incidents, just remember that we do have the largest population
Oh,
of,
I understand
other
that.
than the city, we have the largest population of the towns and villages. And a lot of these are probably home alarm calls that mistakenly went off. Looking at the sheriff's report, a lot of them are motorists or citizens assist, where somebody called in, can you help me? And a lot of them are speeding or speeding warnings. So there's not a whole lot of criminal activity
what
in
about-
that 257. It's more routine-ish type.
So using
deal.
using your logic, and that we
Using
have a
my-
large population, I understand that. Where do you think the population of Nassawapi is?
I'm not going to speak for Nassawapi.
Infinitesimally
I am not
small?
speaking for Nassawapi, I'm sorry.
You can't get to northern Door County without going through Sevastopol.
Well,
So every
that's-
time a squad car goes through here, it's got approximately 10 miles to travel And it can pick up a speeder or two on the way, and that wasn't his intent. He was going to, say, Sister Bay or something, so.
And we
And
do
we're
have,
doing our,
you know,
we're doing our part to
school.
enhance
Right.
officer training. Gotta look at the bright side.
Yeah, well, I was just amazed by Nassawapi's number, because based on population of 6 or 8 people,
Well, and they have
each
a,
one
they have
committed
a.
30 crimes.
Right, and they have a school district too. So not that I'm,
Part of that
being
problem-
negative on the school, but there's incidents there where.
Part
they
of
get
that
calls.
problem too is that they're just across the street from the city of Sturgeon Bay. So a lot of people live right on that Duluth Avenue. And you might say it's a city problem, but it's in the town. So,
Okay, the other thing that we just touched on a few minutes back was the fact that Soil and Water Conservation Department has got some new grant funding to take care of obnoxious weeds. And as you saw in the package, it's a municipal cost share program. So at least the good news is they have some money. I think we're okay at the present time, but if it does crop up, I think we're meeting their requirements in terms of ordinances and things. So we're good there. You see our favorite gentleman with his tents was granted an extension to May 1st. So I was pretty pleased to see that he responded to the county and not anticipating that to happen. So that's everything in correspondence. The announcements would be February 20th, that would be tomorrow, spring elections, that's for the judges. And February 28th, we have a candidate forum here at the town hall, and that will be shown live and also available on, correct or wrong?
They requested it not be live because we can't carry high definition live, and they wanted to have a high definition recording.
Oh.
So it'll be a good quality one, but it won't be live.
I wonder why the quality of our service.
Because we can't broadcast anything with standard definition. Charter won't let us.
So how are you going to handle this then, after the fact?
Well, like everything else that I record, it'll be processed in two forms, one for YouTube, one for the internet. I'm sorry, one for YouTube and one for us. Lower, it'll be standard definition.
Standard lower quality.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's adequate, but not today's standard.
All right, but otherwise, it will be available on doorbell.net and on the Charter channel after the meeting. But if you're in town and you'd like to come, it'll be here, it'll be interesting, and I'm sure informative. And then we have our annual town board, our annual town meeting, and our town board meetings on Tuesday, April 17th, and that meeting will start at 6 o'clock. And there will be installation of officers and other wonderful things, including a guest speaker. And I think that is everything here. And if anybody has any items for that meeting in April, let me or Amy know, and we will take a look at them. Any comments from anyone else? Hearing none, the next thing would be for someone to make a motion to
I
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Finally, he stepped to the plate.
I'll second that.
Motion from Tony, second by Chuck, to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.